The world of anime is vast, filled with impressive emotional stories that often make us reflect on life. But did you know that among these anime there are characters inspired by real life in some way? It's true. To prove it to you, I'll show you 15 characters inspired by reality and reveal the story behind each of them. So, if you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to like the video and, most importantly, subscribe to the Zen Otaku channel to catch our upcoming videos with even more curiosities from the anime world. Now, without further delay, let's dive into the characters inspired by real life. Son Goku, Dragon Ball. Before creating Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama was already known for his humor in Dr. Slump. But when he decided to reinterpret, in his own way, the classic Chinese tale Journey to the West, Son Goku was born. The inspiration came from Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, who had superhuman abilities, a magical staff that could extend, and the power to fly on clouds. Toriyama brought this mythological figure into a modern setting, mixing it with superhero comics and kung fu films he adored. Goku became a cultural blend, a legendary Chinese monkey, an Asian martial warrior, and a universal superhero. No wonder he became the global face of anime. Jiraiya, Naruto. Masashi Kishimoto, the creator of Naruto, always expressed his love for Japanese folklore. The toad sage Jiraiya wasn't an entirely new invention. He already appeared in an old 19th century tale called Jiraiya Goketsu Monogatari. In it, Jiraiya was a ninja who used toad magic, Tsunade wielded slug magic, and Orochimaru snake magic. Kishimoto reinterpreted this folklore into his ninja world, making Jiraiya Naruto's master while keeping his connection to the toads of Mount Myoboku. But Kishimoto added humanity and humor, making him the clumsy, wise master who balances comedy with tragedy, a perfect reinvention of tradition. 3. Rock Lee, Naruto. When creating Rock Lee, Kishimoto wanted someone who defied the usual ninja mold. Lee has no talent for ninjutsu or genjutsu, only for taijutsu, physical combat. His inspiration came from none other than Bruce Lee, the martial arts legend who revolutionized cinema with his philosophy and speed. Rock's hairstyle, tight green outfit, and extreme discipline are direct tributes. Bruce Lee believed strength came from tireless practice, and Rock Lee embodies that in the ninja world. A boy who overcomes lack of innate talent with sheer hard work. He's the ultimate symbol of discipline and perseverance. 4. Edward Elric, Full Metal Alchemist. Hiromu Arakawa grew up on a farm in Hokkaido, which gave her a grounded perspective on life. But her fascination with philosophy and the history of science birthed Full Metal Alchemist. Edward Elric, the young steel alchemist, was inspired by Renaissance thinkers, especially Paracelsus, a 16th century doctor and philosopher who blended science with mysticism. Arakawa studied alchemy to create a believable world, but gave Edward a passionate soul. He's not just a scientist, but a brother struggling to restore what was lost. Edward represents a mix of scientific rigor, alchemical myth, and the human pain of loss. 5. Roronoa Zoro, One Piece. Eiichiro Oda grew up fascinated by pirates and samurai. When creating Zoro, he combined both. His name comes from François l'Olonnais, a ruthless 17th century French pirate, while also evoking Zoro, the masked swordsman. The three-sword style was Oda's invention, rooted in his admiration for samurai and kenjutsu traditions. Zoro embodies cultural fusion, a pirate with samurai honor living by the sword. It's an improbable mix that works because Oda gave him charisma, loyalty, and unshakable resolve. 6. Marshall D. Teach, Blackbeard, One Piece. Unlike many invented characters, One Piece's Blackbeard is based directly on someone real, Edward Teach, the infamous pirate who terrorized the Caribbean. In reality, he was a cunning man who lit fuses in his beard to look like a demon. Oda carried this aura into the anime, making him a villain who not only bears the same name, but also the same terrifying presence. In the story, Teach breaks all rules by wielding 2 devil fruits, something thought impossible. In both history and fiction, he's a pirate who defies order, a figure embodying fear and power. And Kenshiro, Fist of the North Star. In the 1980s, Tetsuo Hara and Bjornson created one of manga's most iconic heroes, Kenshiro. To bring him to life, they drew inspiration from Bruce Lee. The battle cries, rapid strikes, and martial philosophy echo the martial arts master. But Kenshiro doesn't fight in temples or rings. He walks a post-apocalyptic desert, almost like an Eastern Mad Max. The creators wanted to blend the brutality of action cinema with martial arts philosophy, creating a hero who defeats enemies explosively, but also weeps for the world's injustices. 8. Levi Ackerman, Attack on Titan. Hajime Isayama wanted a warrior who wasn't the typical shining hero. Levi is short, quiet, and deadly efficient. Isayama admitted Levi's fighting style was inspired by Japanese fighter Makoto Kobayashi, while his temperament borrowed from Western characters like Rorschach from Watchmen. Levi is the opposite of a flamboyant hero, cold, calculating, and always frowning. Yet his humanity shines through small gestures, making him beloved. Isayama's secret was mixing the reality of combat with the fiction of titans. 9. Ippo Makunuchi, Hajime no Ippo. George Morikawa, a boxing enthusiast, decided to bring the sport into manga. Thus, he created Ippo, a shy boy who discovers his strength in the ring. Ippo's fighting style, full of explosive hooks, is inspired by legends Mike Tyson and Joe Frazier. Morikawa studied real fights to bring authenticity. Ippo embodies the heart of a boxer, discipline, pain, and perseverance. Beyond that, he reveals the beauty of boxing that Morikawa himself admired. Then, Alucard, Hellsing. Kuta Hirano loved horror and wanted to reinvent the vampire. He turned to Vlad the Impaler, the 15th century Wallachian prince who inspired Dracula. Vlad's cruelty, impaling enemies, became Alucard's dark power, but Hirano gave him sinister charisma. Alucard isn't just a monster, but a stylish anti-hero working for an English organization against supernatural threats. Vlad's real history blends with Gothic myth, creating one of anime's most iconic vampires. 11. Light Yagami, Death Note. Tsugumi Oba and Takeshi Obata wanted a character embodying human intelligence and arrogance. Light Yagami, the student who finds the Death Notebook, was inspired by real archetypes of leaders and dictators who believed they had power over life and death. His coldness and self-righteousness echo 20th century dictators. Oba once said Light was meant as a representation of human hubris, a genius, but also a dangerous reflection of what happens when too much power is given to an ordinary man. 12. L. Death Note. If Light is inspired by authoritarian figures, L is based on eccentric geniuses. Obata took cues from literary detectives like Sherlock Holmes, but also from real scientists and investigators known for their odd behavior. Ali's posture, the way he sits, and his unorthodox reasoning reflect this mix of brilliance and strangeness. He was designed as Light's opposite, yet his quirks make him unforgettable. 13. Kenshin Himura, Rurouni Kenshin. Nobuhiro Watsuki wanted a hero representing Japan's transition from feudal to modern times. He based Kenshin on Kawakami Gensei, a real samurai from the Bakumatsu era, famed for his lightning-fast sword. But unlike the historical assassin, Watsuki gave Kenshin a vow never to kill again, burdened by guilt from his past. This blend of history and fiction created one of anime's most beloved samurai. 14. Osamu Dazai, Bungo Stray Dogs. Kafka Asagiri's idea for Bungo Stray Dogs was to turn famous writers into characters with supernatural powers. Dazai is inspired by the real author Osamu Dazai, known for his masterpiece No Longer Human. In real life, Dazai had a tragic existence with multiple suicide attempts, a trait the anime version inherits in a darkly comedic way. It's a fascinating case of literature and anime crossing paths. 15. Nobunaga Oda, Drifters, Sengoku Basara. Oda Nobunaga was one of Japan's most important warlords, helping to unify the country in the 16th century. So in today's video, we explored incredible characters and the real-life inspirations behind them. Now I want to know from you, which of these characters do you like the most? And which one surprised you the most for being inspired by reality? Share with me in the comments, and don't forget to like the video to help our channel grow. Thanks for watching until the end. I'll leave a recommended video on your screen so you can keep exploring more anime curiosities. See you next time.